Kelly?
Thank you, guys. Coach, you had your first win since November 22nd on Thursday. I know you've been searching for the identity.
And we are underway. The opening tip controlled by the Waves. This is Lee, the freshman out of Texas.
And my favorite matchup of the game is the guys that we opened up with. Brett Bailey, number 32 in Navy, against Lamont Murray. It's very rare that sometimes the two best scorers, the two leading players, are guarding each other. I think it'll be really interesting to see how this matchup unfolds today.
I think setting the tone early is going to be a real key. Here's Newbar up on the high post. From the corner, that is Carter, and he gets it. That's a real confidence builder for him.
Well, just 2 nights ago, he had 2 shots against Pacific. Not 1, but 2, and they were both open three-pointers to tie that game, send it into overtime. He missed both of them short, but gets off to a great start here this afternoon.
Murray goes baseline over Bailey, won't go, and the rebound snatched down by Juwan Gray. Gray, 6'9", big upside. Just a freshman also. That's Bailey. Kept possession, got the shot up, couldn't get the roll. It's going to be knocked out of bounds to San Diego.
Looking like Curly Neal with the Harlem Globetrotters over there. Here's the three-point shot right here. A dribble handoff, exchange. He was going to go set a ball screen, but Olin Carter says, no, I got this. I'm going to launch it, get us off to a great start.
Carter tried the entry pass, stepping in front was Major, and here he comes on a wing. Leaves it for Murray, a little hard, but it's run down by Lee. From the outside, that's Reyes.
And that is only his second three-pointer on the season. Came in 1 for 2, but you wouldn't notice by that. He stepped right into it. He's got a fluid stroke.
Looked pretty pure, didn't it? Came over from Utah as a graduate. Again, Carter from the corner. Couldn't get the roll. The rebound down into the hands of Murray.
A couple of guys are slipping.
Yeah,
He's probably the third guy that has slipped on the court.
That could really be dangerous. That's something. It is raining out. I don't know. I haven't seen it raining here.
He's a big load down here, Taylor.
He is. A little turnaround with the left hand. Comes up short. Rebound down to Bailey. And San Diego push.
This is a San Diego team that would like to push, and they're also going to like to shoot as many threes as they can get. They don't have a lot of inside scoring. And they play a lot of times with 5 perimeter players, which is basically what they're doing now, because Cameron Neubauer, number 20, he likes to shoot from the perimeter as well.
A lot of guys. They don't have too many low post guys, as you said. The outside, the man cut one way, the pass went another. Second turnover.
Chris Reyes, again, 1 for 2 coming into today. So, but right there, just perfect lineup. No one was guarding him, and he's got the green light. But normally his range barrier is about 17 feet or so.
67% from three-point range. Taylor got on a block again and got away with an elbow, actually, and they're going to call the foul against Juwan Gray. I thought he had a little chicken wing going there.
He definitely did. However, I think the referee said that he got him before that, the body bump there, but certainly that elbow would have been an offensive foul. But just because a guy is bigger than you doesn't mean that you can go and push him. Anyways, that's a foul regardless of height or strength.
That's a very nice defensive play by Juwan Gray.
And we talked to Lamont Smith about Juwan. He is a 6'8" wing. He is a wing, and I know he's guarding Nolan Taylor on the block, but he is comfortable on the perimeter. They found him in Delaware. And as we said, how in the world did you find this kid from Delaware? He said, well, I have some assistant coaches, including Sam Scholl, that have connections on the East. They found him, and Lamont made sure he flew out right away to get in there early with this kid. And luckily they got him.
He's got a brother who's 7 feet tall, so there may be room to grow for him. Very nice player that has a very big upside, just a freshman.
Yeah, his 7-foot brother is playing professionally in Poland, what we were told.
They're going to get a foul away from the ball on Cameron Neubauer.
The foul situation is going to be critical for both of these teams. They are not deep, especially on the front line. If we start to see some of those big guys get into foul trouble, I expect both teams to probably go to zone to try and protect against that.
We talked to Lamont Smith just a little while ago before the game and asked him about how big a rotation he plays. That's Murray. And he told us 5.5.
How good is Lamont Murray's mid-range game? It's been spectacular throughout his career. It's the biggest strength he has.
That's great. Nice stroke.
He's averaging 8 points a game, and I think he could average more. He's not that aggressive. I think he's still learning how to play with his teammates, though. Just a freshman.
Major moving well that time. Little turnaround with the right hand.
We talked about Elijah Lee, number 1 for Pepperdine, is now the point guard, which allows Jeremy Major and kind of gives him more of a green light than he already had, in my opinion, to be aggressive and get into the lane and to shoot from deep.
Bailey with a three-pointer, comes up a little short, one only. Murray with a rebound. Reyes again, standing J. Looks like he does it all the time.
Yeah, so that three-point shot that we saw, maybe in their second possession was abnormal. I've watched Chris Reyes. He went to Damien High School in Laverne, which is right next to Glendora, my hometown. He actually played at Citrus College in Glendora. So I've seen Chris Reyes play a lot. What we just saw, that medium-range jab step jumper, that's more his range.
Pepperdine on a 9-3 run right now.
For a couple days and then fractured the jaw. They don't know when he's going to return, so he's definitely up in the air. That'll be a tough one to decide when he's able to come back.
All right, thanks, Kelly. And Olin Carter answers coming out of that timeout with a 3, and that ties it at 9.
And Olin Carter gets it going from the perimeter. It's a dangerous situation. Pepperdine needs to be alert now of number 3, where he is at all times. They need to make sure they lock and trail him.
Got an off-the-ball foul here against Reyes.
We're going back to what Kelly was talking about with the loss of Amadi Udini. I think, Barry, that's huge for 2 reasons. One, because he produced on the court. Both Amadi Udini and Jeremy Major last year were in the top 10 in WCC in assists. And second, he was one of their most experienced guys. And you can't have too many guys or enough guys that are experienced like he was. A big blow to them.
Little fall away for Tyler Williams won't go, and Reyes for another rebound. Quick outlet to Major. Once again, the Waves will try to push. The foul underneath is going to go against Gehring, I believe. Gehring, I beg your pardon.
Gehring feels like he has a mismatch with number 20, Cameron Neubauer, down there. And just a little bit too aggressive. The referees have been watching with hawk eyes. If you reach backwards with your arms to try and maybe hold a guy off, that's an automatic foul.
Inconsistent in this game. Carter again.
Oh, he is aggressive.
Well, you said it. 3 threes for Olin Carter.
And he has shot almost double the amount of threes as anybody else on this Torero roster. But, in watching them on film, he hasn't been this aggressive early in any game I've seen.
Gonna get that foul on Neubauer. It's going to be his second.
And just playing simple basketball, if you're going to go underneath that screen and turn your head, I'm going to pop and make you pay. That's what Olin Carter is thinking right now. He is laser focused on the rim.
6-0 run now for San Diego. It's been a game of runs. San Diego had a 6-0 run, then Pepperdine had a 9-0 run, and now they break the 6-0 run with a 3 by Major.
And Jeremy Major knew that he had to answer. Look no further than one of the seniors on this roster, although they have 3 on the court right now. Jeremy Major, Lamont Murray Jr., and Chris Reyes.
Carter going to the basket this time. So Carter's made the last 8 for San Diego. Major right back the other way from the corner. Murray. A little hard, and the rebound comes down to the hands of Gray. Quick outlet to Williams. And again, Torero's push. Wide open Gray. Passed up the 3. Took it to the 10. Scoop shot won't go. Gets it back. And it's out of bounds to San Diego.
And I'm not sure why Juwan Gray passed up that 3, because he's a tremendous shooter. But right now, Jeremy Major, sensing that his team needed him to launch one. And Carter, here's what we haven't seen much from him. He does not drive the basket very much. He'd rather shoot jumpers like that.
Could get that one to go. Major comes out of there with a rebound for Pepperdine.
These guys are wrestling down there.
That's a turnover.
And that's Nate Gehring, the sophomore, and he just got an offensive foul for doing what we just described. You cannot reach back with your arm to try and feel a guy out. They talk about the buzzwords are cylinders. You have a right to your own cylinder, but you don't have a right to wrap your arms around somebody else in their cylinder. Everybody likes their own personal space, right, Barry?
Exactly.
You do.
Exactly.
You don't want me wrapping your arms.
There's 2 or 3 feet between us right now. Craig Lissette has come into the ballgame replacing Gehring. Another freshman with a big upside, but still a learning process for him. And that can be said about a lot of players in this game.
You know, I played for Mike Montgomery at Stanford during my 3-year college career, and he would always say, and other coaches say this too, the best thing about freshmen is that they're going to be sophomores next year.
Absolutely.
Every now and then there's some freshmen that come along that are special and more mature, but for the most part, the majority of freshmen, their heads are spinning off their shoulders. They don't know what's up and what's down.
Game's a little faster at this time.
Of course it is.
Hard to the basket, Reyes, and a good job defensively that time. I think it was Ryder, the freshman, that got in the way of that. Here is Ryder down on the block. Just a freshman, another guy that's a work in progress. Underneath, nice delivery by Ryder to Williams for the finish.
A heady play by both guys, but especially Tyler Williams. Instead of just standing and watching, assuming that your player or your teammate is going to shoot a close shot, as soon as your defender turns his head, back door. Here's what I'm talking about. Don't just assume that he's going to shoot it and make it cut, get open, and get an easy one.
Nice job by Frank Ryder, the freshman, to recognize also. Carter's going to get a blow here. And coming into the ball game is Nasir Marino. San Diego on a 10-3 run right now. Murray at the free throw line comes up short.
That was defense there by Brett Bailey. Both of those players are long, athletic. Right there, Brett Bailey won that individual matchup.
Nice give by Marino, but no finish by Ryder. And here comes Jeremy Major. 4-on-3 here. Major going to go all the way. And puts it so high off the backboard, missed everything. Coming the other way, Williams. Oh, foul hard by Lassane. Going to the basket. Williams is down.
A really awkward.
5 USD players have ever scored more. That goes all the way back to the 1955-56 season.
More than Johnny D?
But, well, yes. Maybe he did it once or twice, but only 5 players have scored more than 34 points since 1955 and 56.
Well, we talked about it before the game. San Diego, their improvement shooting, and it's not just Olin Carter. Brett Bailey last year shot 37% overall from the field. This year, almost 50%. Olin Carter, 34% last year from the field. This year, well over 40%. Tyler Williams, 30% this year, 45%. So there's the proof in the pudding. A lot of coaches say, yeah, we're going to work, we're going to get in the gym, we're going to improve. And it's all talk, and there's no actual action or results. But this San Diego Torero team put in that time, and it's paying off.
Absolutely. They're on a 12-3 run right now. Incidentally, I want to clarify that last play at the other end of the floor, San Diego before the timeout, where Williams was hit and went into the stanchion. The officials came over and told us they did look at that as a possibility of being a flagrant one, and they decided it was not. It was just a common foul.
The right call, and Pepperdine needs a bucket, Barry. They started 5 for 8 from the field in this game, and right now, that was their first make in their last 5 attempts, ending a scoring drought that almost lasted 3 minutes.
That was Craig Lissette. Another young player with a big upside. Down low, this is Martinez, Jose Martinez. Turnaround, fall away. That's a tough shot. Murray with a rebound for the Waves.
We got a switch right now. Chris Reyes being guarded by Olin Carter, number 3 down there on the block, trying to take advantage of this.
They did, but pretty good help that time by Martinez. Swinging around Murray from the corner for 3.
Defensively for San Diego, if they are going to double team and Chris Reyes starts to back dribble, you need to then get out of that and start to recover. I felt like they were a step slow, and that's what led to the open three.
Timeout called by Olin Carter.
3 3-point made field goals today. He also has a drive and a finish with his left hand. So to your point, Barry, it's been a nice balanced attack from USD today.
This is Ryder up in a high post. Ryder just a freshman. Again, another guy with a pretty big upside. Williams leaves it for Bailey. Wide open tray. I beg your pardon, Newbauer. Wide open.
Yeah, and to me, even though statistically he's not the best three-point shooter, to me, he's their best knockdown guy. You can't leave Cameron Newbauer. That's a defensive miscommunication by the Waves.
Murray, that time being very aggressive. Might have gotten away with a little bit of a push, but did score. Remains a 2-point ball game. Williams, guarded by Murray, drops it down now for Ryder. Ryder working on Lassen. Jump hook short, all but the finish. Newbauer's there to give him a second chance. Look out. Carter, open tray, won't go. And it's going to be knocked out of bounds to the Waves.
And Cameron Newbauer, this is probably the most open he's been all season. Right there, you can't draw, you can't suck in if you're guarding him. And that's just bully ball right there. Put your shoulder into a chest. They're the official to call a foul. You're at home. You're a senior. You might have earned a couple of calls. Lamont Murray, I like it.
When they talked about Carter missing a couple of shots down the stretch the other night at Pacific, Newbauer himself 0 for 6 beyond the arc in that game. Murray comes up short, and the rebound yanked down by Bailey. That broke a 3 for 3 string for Pepperdine. That's Williams with a pull-up.
And a nice decision. It was a simple decision because the Pepperdine Wave defender went under the screen and roll. They're daring Tyler Williams to take that 16-foot 2-point jump shot, but he's just proven that he can knock it down.
Major working on Carter, left hand. Didn't even use the glass.
Impressive. I've always enjoyed, this is our third year now working games together. Jeremy Major's been one of the more enjoyable players to watch, an emotional guy, a fiery competitor, which both you and I are, Barry, so we appreciate that about him.
Exactly. My left hand wasn't quite as good as his. Here's Murray. They left him. He took it. He'll score and one.
And Olin Carter was defending on that play.
Sort of.
That was Olay defense. I think he's anticipating help. He turns his head and basically opens the door, and Lamont Murray just walks through it in the and one. And in a weird twist, so that shot went in for Lamont Murray. He was coming into the game, Lamont Murray was shooting better from the 3-point line than he was from the foul line, which is something you never see from guards.
I see it in the team. The University of San Francisco this year, they're leading the conference in 3-point shooting and last in the conference in free throws.
That doesn't make any sense to me. It's all upstairs as Tyler Williams knocks down his second consecutive 2-point jumper, doing his best impersonation of Tyler Hawes out here.
Open this time, but unable to convert was Knox Helens. Here's Bailey, got the matchup over Majors, but couldn't get the roll. Reyes with the rebound and an over-the-top foul on Ryder. Second chances, Major rather runs this down. Now Reyes trying to back Williams down. Good help that time by Ryder. Helms. Now Major back it out. 10 on the shot clock. Nothing fancy there. Just step back, shot a 3, missed it to the left side. Here comes Guerreros.
I felt that was a settled shot there by Jeremy Major, and I know he's hit 1-3 already today, but he kind of bailed out the defense. Cameron Newbauer boy breathed a sigh of relief to see Jeremy Major cast one up from 23 feet rather than take him off the bounce.
Bailey on the baseline, rejected by Reyes, but right back into the hands of Williams.
Tyler Williams is having himself a great first half, just doing everything right, not forcing the issue. He's playing off other guys. He's a heady basketball player who never assumes that his teammates are going to make a shot. You got to block him off.
It's the freshman Helms, now Major worked on by Williams. So the double team tried to give it up to Reyes. Ball loose. Reyes gets it back and puts it in.
And Reyes coming off a monster game against LMU just a couple nights ago. He hit the game winner, an offensive rebound putback with less than 2 seconds to go. He's a transfer from Utah, and 2 years ago he started 33 games as USD throws the ball out of bounds. Chris Reyes started 33 of the 35 games his first year at Utah. And here's again Tyler Williams just crashing the glass, and you got to get a body on him. But then last year, with the rise of Jakob Poeltl for Utah and Kyle Kuzma, who really developed into a fantastic player, Chris Reyes' minutes were basically cut in half. And now he's found a home here at Pepperdine, who really needs his production.
Yeah, it's one of those. That's one of those times that you really like that graduate transfer program, and he's taking advantage of it, getting a lot of minutes, and gets to actually play.
And it's very rare that Pepperdine gets a transfer. Why? Because the academic standards at this place are so high. Very rarely do guys even get in.
That's Todd, misses off the front rim. Rushed that shot a little bit. Here's Williams. In a close game all the way. 1 point lead San Diego now. They'll settle things down here. Both teams slowing the pace a little bit.
Yeah, they're dropping back into a zone. And that's something that Pepperdine wants to do, but they need to mark this guy right here.
This is off the right side. Major the rebound. Major 1-on-3 all the way to the basket, goes right up over the top of Williams. And that's going to be an offensive foul.
So Williams doing it at both ends of the floor, earning some major minutes from head coach Lamont Smith right here. He's there. Absolutely. He was out of the restricted area, too. And he was close to getting kneed right in the face, too.
Yes, he was. Well played, though. I mean, that's one of the tough things you have to do in this game.
And there's nothing that gets a coach more fired up on the sideline than one of his guys sacrificing his body and getting the charge. Just fires up everybody. It's almost like the equivalent of a dunk on offense, I feel like.
Pepperdine back in that zone. And Ryder trapped.
Not sure that's the matchup that USD wants to go to right there. Frank Ryder, the freshman, against Nolan Taylor, who probably outweighs him by 50 pounds. Continue to move the ball, play inside out.
Nolan Taylor, a big body.
Yeah, you could say that. He's got a really nice jump shot, though. He prefers to face up and shoot rather than play post like this.
His coach would prefer him to play post like that.
Yeah, that's not what the big guys these days want to do. They all want to play like Dirk, man. Well, watch me go between the legs, coach. I got the step back three and all that.
They want to play like you, Casey. Well, the W.TV is your home for West Coast Conference action, featuring more than 65 live West Coast Conference men's basketball games. Visit the W.TV from your browser, your smartphone, tablet, or connected TV to watch live out-of-market games for free. The W.TV, all the action, anytime, anywhere. Carter again. He's got a little quieter since early scoring binge. He won't stop shooting, though, I promise. Williams from the corner for three.
Well, it's been Tyler. So it was the first 6 minutes of this game, Owen Carter took over. But since then, Tyler Williams has been the offense and sometimes the defense for the Toreros. He's having himself a tremendous game, on pace for a career-high afternoon.
A baseline turnaround by Lissette. Rebound to Taylor. Taylor with jump hook with the right hand. He's got a nice touch.
Yeah, he missed the first 7 games of this season because of knee injury, and our head coach Marty Wilson described it to us as a severe tendonitis, called it tendinosis. I'm not really familiar with that term, but he's back now and provides them with some needed front court depth.
Dubar back in the game, playing with 2 fouls. Open again is Williams from the corner and gets another one.
And a mistake defensively by Elijah Lee, number 1, the freshman. Don't close out to Brett Bailey, who's basically been non-existent offensively, and leave number 1, Tyler Williams, in the corner. Make Brett Bailey shoot that one, not a guy that's just unconscious right now.
He's got 16 points in the game, Casey. Taylor again. That's a missed everything. And the rebound of Williams. Williams has been the whole package in this game.
And he has a nice, complete all-around game. He's not a tremendous scorer, not a really aggressive player, but today he has been.
Bailey on the deck draws a crowd as that's swatted out of bounds. It'll be San Diego ball. And with that, we'll take a timeout. 2 minutes, 14 seconds remaining in the first half. San Diego enjoying a 4-point lead right now.
348th to be exact in guarding the 3-point shot. And what makes it even more weird, just 2 seasons ago, they were 3rd best in the country. So try to explain that to me.
I can't, because they're a very athletic team. You would think they would be able to defend the 3.
They're tough. They're defensive minded. They've just not been able to dial in. I don't know if it's a scouting report thing or if it's, losing some length and athleticism.
Well, that's a zone beater right there. Taylor going to the basket.
And one of the best things to do besides attack the middle of the zone is to get a ball reversal, because then seams open up via the dribble or the pass. And right there, Jeremy Major found a seam.
This is Carter to the basket with the left hand.
So the one area that I thought coming into this year that Owen Carter needed to focus on was his ability to finish at the rim. Last year, only 10% of his shot attempts. So 1 of every 10 was at the rim. The rest were perimeter jump shots. At 6'2", he is big enough and strong enough to be a good finisher at the basket.
Murray gets a good look and knocks down his second 3 of the game.
I've been so impressed with his development throughout his career. He's a guy that during his freshman year didn't play a lot, but hardly ever looked at the basket when he caught it from the 3-point line. He was strictly a mid-range shooter and a driver, and now he's one of the biggest 3-point threats that we have in the conference. It's really impressive.
He's got 13 in this game.
No, he scores effortlessly. You know that, Mary.
Neubauer jump hook.
I love it. Right now, I look on the floor, and I only see one big guy, Nolan Taylor, number 31 for the Waves. The rest are a bunch of guards. Although I guess Chris Reyes can be considered a power forward.
Got a whistle. Let's see who they get this against. Bailey went down hard. And not only did he go down and take his lumps, he's also guilty of the foul.
And there you look at the 3-point defensive numbers, and they're just continuing to go down. And right now, teams are licking their lips when they see Pepperdine to beat them from the 3-point line. And I know that Marty Wilson and his coaching staff have talked about it over and over, how we need to be able to mark shooters. It just hasn't sunken in.
Murray gets the first free throw. He's got 14 here in the first half. Go ahead.
I have to apologize to Lamont Murray, because last time he shot a free throw, I said that he's shooting better from the 3-point line than the free throw line. He's not. He's an excellent free throw shooter. It's Jeremy Major that I got mixed up with. So there is a guy on the Pepperdine roster who is shooting better from 3 than from the free throw line. That would be number 3, Jeremy Major, not Lamont Murray.
So Murray gets them both. It's a 1-point game once again, and they will play for the last shot. Will the Toreros? Clock ticks down, coming down toward 10 seconds remaining here in the half. This is Williams.
It's a big possession right here, Barry, for both teams.
taking a little too much time here. Hold on to the ball. Now Carter with 3 seconds. Got to get a shot up. Got a man in the air. Got the shot up. It won't go, and the half comes to an end. Very interesting. And
you're right about that. But I feel like Pepperdine's offense is playing well. They shot 50% in that first half. Last game against LMU, they shot 52%. To me, the issue is not offensively. Defensively, this Pepperdine team isn't tough enough right now to win games.
Follow up right there, down low by Neubauer. Start the second half for San Diego, right where they left off. You know, the other thing that strikes me, too, and you talk about shooting, shot selection for both teams really has been pretty good.
It has been. They've moved the ball well, and guys aren't forcing the issue right here as Lamont Murray forces himself into a shot that goes in, though. That might be a force for other people, but for a 6'5", 210-pound wing, that's not a force at all.
They're all good if they go in. Neubauer downtown.
Cameron Neubauer showing off the inside score on the first possession, and now outside, which is where he prefers. This guy can really light it up from 3.
So a good start to the second half by both teams. Here's Todd. They got a switch. Todd picked up by Williams, and a turnover. Good play by Carter to run that down. Williams will wait for help. Here's Gray.
Boy, does he have some length or what? 6'8", and just needs one dribble from the three-point line. Took off from way outside, and no one's going to take a charge or block that bad boy.
6-point lead for San Diego. Major misses, and Carter is there once again.
And Chris Reyes is limping a little bit. I think he caught a knee to the thigh. He's grimacing.
Carter had a good look, couldn't get it to fall. Reyes does get the rebound, but you're right, Lily Hitchens is giddy up as he comes down the court.
Now he's got the ball. He's going to be magically healed.
It's amazing how that works.
It is.
Couldn't get the left-hander to go, though, and Williams clears.
This play was so nice. We got to see it twice, and maybe even 3 times.
Why not? Take
one
it
more.
again.
Yeah, one more. Here we go. No, that's bad defense.
Yes.
Really nice offense. I enjoyed the dunk, but that's terrible defense.
Waved at him, though, didn't he, as he went by?
And both these teams right now are playing man, but because of the size, the similar size of a lot of the guys, expect a lot of switches on any ball screens.
Stepped on the baseline. Seventh turnover, not bad. Now, Bailey has been very quiet. We featured him right at the top of the show. He is a great scorer.
Well, he leads this team in scoring at 18 points a game, 0 for 6 from the field in the first half. But everybody else has played well. Everybody except for Brett Bailey has rhythm.
Brett Bailey should have rhythm. You know, I've been wanting to mention this course of the game, but he spent 9 weeks this summer doing nothing but shooting three-point shots. He shot 17,000 three-point shots. That's more than you shot.
17,000?
17,000 three-point shots.
I'd like to see that broken down. Like, how many did he shoot a day, multiple times a day? That's 67 miles of successful three-point shooting attempt. Did you do that math, Barry? 67 miles?
In my head. I have an abacus in my head.
Holy cow.
That's all that's in my head,
You're
but I have
amazing.
an abacus in there.
But look at the increase of scoring throughout his career. Look, a lot of guys, when they average 2 points a game for 2 consecutive years, they're out of town. I'm transferring. The coach isn't using me in the right way. I'm going to go somewhere else. Brett Bailey's stuck with it, and now he's reaping the rewards of being a senior at this level of basketball. And he's had a tremendous senior season. It hasn't been great today, but he's having a tremendous senior campaign.
Well, and just being a senior, he's the guy on this team. You got a lot of young players around him. Everybody's looking to him in crunch time. His team leads by 6, and he can increase that.
And we talked to Lamont Smith, and he mentioned that Alex Floresca, who would be a sophomore this year, probably their best post player, he's out for the year with a torn labrum, and he could certainly give them some help underneath. But they've had to scramble. That's why Frank Ryder, number 30, has gotten more playing time as a freshman than he would have otherwise.
Here's another steal, this time by Barrino, and Barrino giving it up to Gray for the finish. And they're on an 8-0 run right now.
On every team, their goal is to provide easy opportunities offensively by getting your hands in the passing lane and creating turnovers. Nobody wants to play in the half court offensively. It's hard. It's a lot easier to be able to run up and down.
Little turnaround misses by Lassen, and here come the Toreros once again. Williams for Neubauer for three, a little short. That would have been a real killer for Pepperdine.
I have a feeling Jeremy Major's going to shoot the next ball. I feel like he's a guy that knows that his team needs a bucket.
Out of the Scotland Performance Institute.
Where?
Pennsylvania, somewhere in the middle, as Lamont Smith told us, in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania.
I thought it was really in like Scotland.
Yeah,
not there.
Yeah, Scotland, Pennsylvania.
All right.
Here is Gray. Got three on the shot clock. Got to recognize, puts it up, couldn't get it to go. All but the finish. Reyes clears.
And I made mention before, Pepperdine, they haven't scored in over 4 minutes, Barry. So expect Lamont Murray Jr., or as I just say that, Chris Reyes hoists one up. Yes. I was actually surprised that Lamont Murray Jr. gave that ball up. I feel like when you're a leading scorer, probably the most talented scorer on the floor, and your team is really struggling, going through a desert spell right now, you take it upon your shoulders to go one-on-one and get something.
That's Carino. Another freshman, as you said earlier, and there's a ton of them.
Well, this USD team has only one senior and only one junior. The rest of the roster is freshmen and sophomores, so this team is built for the future. They also have a couple other guys that are transferring in, Isaiah Wright and Isaiah Pinero. Isaiah Wright we covered as Chris Reyes goes with the right hand and misses. Chris Reyes played with Isaiah Wright because he was at Utah last year. His minutes gone down with the development of Lorenzo Bonham. He decides to come to USD. So the Toreros, hey, look, man, they're struggling right now. Again, 0-3 in the conference. They're looking good today, looking for their first win in WCC play. But this is a team that is going to get better. I guarantee it.
I think you're absolutely right. And the other thing, too, this is a team that won 5 games in a row right before the holiday break, before Christmas. And they came back, and Lamont Smith said they just haven't been the same since. And that's something that's to be expected, really, about young teams.
Hey, maybe too much eggnog and Christmas cookies, man. I like eggnog, too, but you got to lay off that stuff.
My game has not been the same since the holidays. Let's go to Kelly Tennant. Kelly?
Casey, stop drinking the eggnog.
My
Just
bad.
say no.
My bad.
What is wrong with you? Guys, you talk about Lamont Smith and what he said about his team, just the young team, the inexperience, the lack of focus to be able to stay consistent after Christmas that he mentioned. But they have just one senior on the team in Brett Bailey that you talked about. They're tied with USF for the youngest teams in the league. That's saying something about what Lamont Smith has had to do in terms of managing these young guys and their own expectations while also trying to make sure that they're successful every night. That's a really tough balance for him.
Yeah, and the fact is, there's a really interesting coaching matchup. Not so much here, but we talked about Kyle Smith at USF, Lamont Smith, and their teams are very similar as that is up and good.
Owen Carter is still on fire.
But the interesting thing, that's 16 now for Carter. But we talked about the coaching tree. Marty Wilson was an assistant to Brad Holland at USD. He filled a spot that was vacated by Randy Bennett, who's now, of course, the coach of St. Mary's. Also on that staff, here's the Carter 3 again, Also on that staff was Kyle Smith, who is now at USF and has a team very similar to Lamont Smith's team. Lamont Smith was not a coach on that team, but he was a player on that team.
And you know who else was on that staff a year before?
Tell me.
David Fizdale, who is now the head coach for the Memphis Grizzlies.
And as Marty Wilson told us, making more money than all of us.
Yeah, combined, he said. Absolutely. And if there are any NBA fans in our audience right now watching the game, you saw the Memphis Grizzlies beat the Warriors at Oracle Arena. They were down 24 points in the second half. Steph Curry had more than 40 points, and they still came back and won. Memphis Grizzlies got a W.
What a heck of a win that is. I mean, that's the kind of win that really kind of catapults a franchise.
The Memphis Grizzlies have been a consistently good team for about 6 or 7 years. That was actually the last NBA franchise that I played for in 2008. I was a member of the Memphis Grizzlies when they traded Pau Gasol to the LA Lakers, which big deal around here, of course, as Tyler Williams continues his stellar play. And he's showing his entire array, inside, outside, everything. He's got it all.
And that is a career high, 18 points for Tyler Williams. I'm San Diego right now. If you just walked in here and saw this team, you'd say they got to be in the top half of this conference. And yet they've struggled.
Well, I mean, part of that is Pepperdine not providing much resistance. Pepperdine has not had a good defensive game all around. It's not just one guy. At that time, Knox Helms just not providing enough resistance and allowing guys to drive the rim, and they're not bringing a double team. And here we go. Tyler Williams again getting right 2 feet in the paint.
And a nice pass, too. The kick out this time. Now they drop it down again for Ryder. Ryder one-on-one with Reyes. Might have overpassed that. But Williams controls it. Scramble for the loose ball. Still loose. Williams and Ryder, and they're going to get Williams reaching in, I believe.
Love that hustle, man.
Great.
And you can hear the screeching, and that wasn't, guys, that wasn't the bottom of people's shoes. That was elbows, right? So skin is peeling off elbows out here. I love it.
Smith up complaining about something to one of the officials, probably that call. He gave the ball to Pepperdine. Here's Maringo's baseline, cut off nicely by Ryder, but it didn't matter.
Oh, he is a tough cover. Why? Because he now can shoot the three, where he has, before you didn't have to guard him out there. You could short close out and let him come to you. Now you have to respect that jumper, which allows easier drives for Lamont Murray Jr.
Going to get a foul, I think, on Reyes. It is a flagrant one. It'll be 2 free throws. And San Diego's basketball. I think the officials handled that absolutely the way you should handle it.
Well, I mean, I kind of disagree. I don't think that was a flagrant foul.
I'm being nice to the officials here. You know?
Right here, right in the middle of your screen. No way. That's certainly a foul, but a flagrant foul on that? No. No.
Nonetheless.
Play on.
Carter open. Reyes the rebound.
Another thing I've been impressed with watching USD offensively, they are screening people. Bodies on bodies. A lot of times we get a nice steal
by
here.
Carbone, a great steal. And instead he backs it out, leaves it for Williams to the basket. Williams bangs it off the bottom of the backboard. A couple of chances going awry here for San Diego.
I like the extra effort defensively there by Jonathan Allen, number 23, getting back in that play and making it difficult for Tyler Williams to score.
Murray had a pretty good look. Came up a little short. Ryder clears. Frank Ryder getting a lot of minutes for Lamont Smith today. It's going to be a foul up over the top that time by Jonathan Allen.
Three-point shooting to me has been the difference. San Diego got in that rhythm, which you mentioned, Barry. They have 9 threes compared to only 4 for Pepperdine.
Carter passed one up there. Down low and trying to reverse was Neubauer, and he drew the foul. Got Craig Lacen on the foul.
And every time we do a San Diego game, I always have to mention Cameron Neubauer. He was born in Berlin, and his last name, Neubauer, is how you would say it in German, and it means new farmer. Because Neu is new, and Bauer is farmer. So I always say Cameron New Farmer.
Can you say he got plowed into on that last sequence?
9. Ich spreche nicht sehr gut Deutsch. I played in Germany for 7 years, and that's basically the only German I picked up.
That was good. That was good.
Dankeschön, mein Freund.
Yes, ich liebe dich. That got me in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Nice help there by Olin Carter, cutting off that driving lane from Lamont Murray.
Nice give that time. Reyes with the give, Lacen with the finish.
And that's one of the first possessions we've seen in the second half from Pepperdine where they've moved the ball from one side to the other. Oftentimes they get stuck. If you move it, even against a good defensive team, something's going to open up.
A little bit of a lazy pass there and a near turnover, but a good job by Carter to grab it back. Got to recognize the shot clock here. 8 on the shot clock. Carter giving up in the corner. Gray coming off the baseline with a huge finish.
Oh, they called him out of bounds. He stepped out in order to gather himself for that flush, Barry. And watch this feed by Reyes. He's normally a guy that receives post passes. Right there, he's a giver for the easy one.
So Murray back up top. Murray's got 21 points, but it's been a quiet 21 points.
If that's possible, right? I would agree with you. It has been quiet. He hears what we're saying right now.
Lacen will give him a second chance. That's Helms, the freshman, in and out. A rebound to Gray.
Helms, a guy that can really shoot it. I believe that's his first three-point attempt of the game. It's tough when you haven't really gotten a couple attempts up and you're 9 minutes to go and your team needs a bucket and you cast one off. It's hard.
Carter looking for help. Now Gray. 9 on the shot clock. Once again, Gray puts it on the deck to the basket, finger rolls it in.
And that again is number 21 on defense, Knox Helms, allowing the driving lane. And then, you know, look, it helps to be 6'8" and be able to handle the ball. Once you allow a guy to get that deep, there's really nothing you can do but foul him.
Three-point shot is up and good by Lacen. Lacen from Oxy, Sweden. And he's one of those guys, he grew 4 inches over a summer. He used to be a point guard. So he's got a handle.
And that's so often the case with a lot of the bigs that can play that way. They grew up either playing soccer or they grew up as little guys and they just matured later.
Good job that time putting it on the deck by Bailey. Drew the foul. He'll go to the line.
And watch this physical drive by Gray. Once he got Helms on his hip, there was nothing else that anybody for Pepperdine can do. And then Lacen with the answer. It was a rainbow 3-2. That thing was scraping the lights on top of Firestone Fieldhouse. You got a low roof here, too. I'm looking up. These lights aren't too far up above us here, partner. All right, that's the second free throw that we've seen Brett Bailey miss, and he's one of the better free throw shooters on the team, 82%, and twice this year, 2 separate games, he has gone 10 for 10 from the line, which is really difficult to do to get there that many times, let alone make them all.
1 out of 2 for him. It's an 11-point lead. This game is by no means out of sight for Pepperdine. It's an 11-point game, but it's been a seesaw kind of game, although the Toreros have pretty much owned the second half.
Yeah. We haven't heard much from Jeremy Major in the second half, if at all.
There's Reyes down low. Delina a little bit and one.
We saw a lot of that from Pepperdine. Chris Reyes posting up, so good, taking the contact, very little contact there, but the referee gives him the benefit of the whistle, and he's going to go for the old-fashioned three-point play. But just the other night against LMU, it was a seesaw game going back and forth. The final minute was all Chris Reyes, domination. He had an and one with just under a minute to go, then a layup with 33 seconds to go, and then Barry put it away with a putback finish with 1.5 seconds to go. Nobody else on Pepperdine scored in that last minute.
Well, nothing. If you have experience, that gives you an edge. And this is a guy that has played 4 years of college basketball.
And the last 2 years, he's played at the Pac-12 level at Utah, playing against NBA guys every day in practice.
Yeah.
And Jakob Poeltl is now a member of the Toronto Raptors.
Here comes Major, 1-on-2. Major all the way to the basket, couldn't get it to go. Bailey with a rebound. Ryder again with pretty good hands. Puts it in off the window.
Wow, and a play that was going nowhere. And it just falls into Frank Ryder's hands. That's when you know you're having a good afternoon. Because that should have been a turnover going the other way. Instead, it's a 2-point layup for Ryder.
10-point lead coming down to 7 minutes remaining in the game. They're doing a pretty good job defending Major.
And the spacing offensively for Pepperdine has been terrible.
Lee stepped into that three. Here comes Williams trying to get it ahead for Gray. Good job by Lee to get in front of it, but it'll be San Diego ball. And we're going to take a time.
This team, the 6 a.m. workouts, he's the guy that shows up with great energy. He's positive, gets these young guys going, and that's something that Marty has really needed with all of the injuries.
Yeah, thanks very much, Kelly. I mean, senior leadership, everybody talks about it. It can't be said enough, though. It's really a factor. And we talked to Marty Wilson, as did Kelly, before the game, down low. Williams couldn't get it. Foul was right there by Ryder.
Having a great game.
Marty was saying what this team really needs is an identity. They just don't have it. And I'll tell you what, they don't seem to have it today either.
No, defensively it is where it's lacking. And it's a little bit surprising just because Jeremy Major is a very good two-way basketball player, leader for them. But yeah, they just don't have enough healthy bodies. Certainly Cameron Edwards being out. He was expected to have a breakout season, but Chris Reyes has been fantastic. Look, let's give him some credit. And I don't know if a lot of people even remember that Chris Reyes came out of Damien High School and he originally signed with St. Mary's. And he redshirted, didn't play, and thought it was not a great fit for him. And left St. Mary's and went to Citrus College in Glendora, which is my hometown in L.A. County. And then went on to Utah and now is here. So he's played for a lot of different basketball programs over the course of 5 or 6 years. But every coach that I've talked to loves him, loves his work ethic. He's a guy that communicates on defense and offense. A joy to be around.
And they're going to get Ryder this time, backing down.
That's the only time that they've stopped Frank Ryder basically in the last 5 minutes is an offensive foul, as he's going to go to the bench right now. And he's fouled out, as a matter of fact. Well, Lamont Smith was trying to ride the freshman, no pun intended, Frank Ryder. And he ran out of gas.
Again, another guy with an upside, though.
Now, the future's bright there in San Diego.
This is Lee, another freshman, now Majors. Carter's been right in Majors' pocket most of the time. Majors in the corner, in and out. It's been that kind of day, and they're going to get an over-the-top foul on Lassen. That's going to be his fourth.
That was one of the better executed offensive possession for Pepperdine. They got exactly what they want. One of their leaders taking a three, Jeremy Major in the corner, and after that shot rimmed in and out, which as a shooter myself, folks, I would get so frustrated. I'd rather actually airball a shot than have one rattle in and out. But he was upset with himself, Jeremy Major. He feels like that was an opportunity that they let pass.
Well, watch live games, get scores, stats, news, and more. Download the free West Coast Conference app today from iTunes or Google Play. The all-new West Coast Conference app, available for Apple and Android tablets and smartphones. Neubauer has that go in and out.
And look, obviously, I don't want to be Captain Obvious, but Pepperdine is running out of time. They haven't been able to get this lead down to single digits and really threaten. But with about 5 minutes to go, they need to put the pedal to the metal. There you go.
Good job by Reyes. Might have gotten away with a little errant elbow there.
But it's this end of the floor. If you're a Pepperdine Wave fan watching this basketball game, they've had no effort here. Not no effort, but I would say half effort at best today.
That was a very nice pass by Williams and the finish by Neubauer. And they're also using the clock pretty well.
San Diego offensively has been patient. Even the shots they've missed, they've been good shots coming after at least 1 or 2 passes. I've been very impressed with the Toreros' effort on this end of the floor.
A foul underneath. They're going to get Gray.
Ball movement. This is just a simple ball screen. Where is the help side defensively for Pepperdine? A step late, and that's just too late. Cameron Neubauer finishing with the left.
So Reyes back at the free throw line. Can't get it to go. Bailey with the rebound.
In Pepperdine's game on Thursday against LMU, they won that game, but in the second half, they missed 5 free throws. They were 5 for 10 from the free throw line. And it felt like they were getting tired. I see the same tired legs right now that I did on Thursday night.
Crowd wanted to travel on Bailey. Williams a little off balance with that shot. Murray clears.
You got to push this right now.
A little bit of a careless foul there, but that's a freshman foul.
So Pepperdine, the last couple of possessions, getting to the foul line, which is great. When you're trailing, you would love to have threes, but the next best thing besides a made three is a free throw. Why? Because it's the only shot in basketball, I always say this all the time, it's the only shot in basketball that is guaranteed to be unguarded. Not even layups are like that.
That's true.
And it's always the same shot, 15 feet away from the basket. But now, see how it allows you to set up full court pressure and maybe cause a turnover here.
And the other thing about it, you get to score with the clock stops.
Yeah.
23 now for Murray in this game.
And San Diego just content to take all 30 seconds of the shot clock.
Got to do something now. It's down to 5. Bailey down low and 1. That is about as good as you can use the clock.
No, really, if you have a lead, a stat sheet after the game and look, hey, how many points did I have?
Converts the three-point play and gives his team a 13-point lead. They'll extend the defense a little bit here.
Yeah, this is just token pressure. They're not really trying to turn them over. They're just trying to take time off the shot clock and make them set up here. A very smart move.
Did a pretty good job of it, I thought, Case. That's Lee, and he can't get it to go. Neubauer with a rebound. A lid on the basket for Pepperdine in the second half.
I give San Diego head coach Lamont Smith some credit right there. I thought that was beautifully designed and executed defense. And Pepperdine probably drew something up in man-to-man offense, trying to get a shot. They come out in three-quarter court zone, and it confused them.
Beautiful delivery by Neubauer and the finish by Gray, and they've been doing it time and again.
Backdoor cuts have been a theme in the last 10 minutes as the defense gets spread out, and just Pepperdine guys are ball watching. They're all standing staring at the basketball instead of having one eye on the basketball and your other eye on the guy you're guarding.
And with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, that's going to be a three-point opportunity for Reyes. Right now, the biggest lead of the game at 15. Now it's 13. For San Diego, Reyes will have a chance to cut this to 12.
Ball movement, and then you drive and dish, something that we haven't seen very much. I mean, we've seen it occasionally. Again, reminding the audience that Pepperdine in the first half shot 50%. It's not like they've been struggling offensively all game. It's just the adjustments made by Lamont Smith and the San Diego defense has really just taken away easy opportunities.
And Reyes cannot convert the three-point play. He's got 15 points in the game. And Lamont Murray is on the bench, interestingly enough, for Marty Wilson's Pepperdine Waves.
Sometimes the greatest tool that a coach has to teach is to sit a player on the bench. And I don't know what Lamont Murray Jr. did, but we would expect him in the basketball game in these situations. He's not out here. It's another opportunity for someone else to step up.
I think they got the foul that time on Newbar, I believe. This is Helms, the freshman. Marty Wilson has 3 freshmen out there now. And the 2 seniors, Reyes and Major.
You had to do that, sir. Thank you. Gentlemen and scholar. Four.
Nice slip there by Taylor.
All but the finish.
It was a nice play, though. So Taylor sets the screen, and instead of holding it, he slips it right to the goal. Just nothing going right except for Chris Reyes a couple of times getting free for easy buckets. Nobody on Pepperdine is going to walk away from this game feeling good about their offensive performance.
No question. Newbauer wide open tray, but it won't go. Gray falling down. Would have had the rebound, but couldn't keep his footing. Goes out of bounds to Pepperdine. And now Lassen will come back into the Pepperdine lineup. Taylor will leave. And that's Lassen.
No idea where his man is, and shortly after that, Marty Wilson took him and sat him on the bench for the last 3 minutes. But it's not just Lamont Murray Jr. It's not just him. It's been several waves that have just been caught ball watching or a step too slow, help side defensively. They're going to go back in the film room and have a lot to look over.
Yeah, right now just kind of a flat. I don't know exactly what to say about what the Waves haven't done. We could talk about what San Diego has done. And, you know, it's kind of you hope a sign of the future for this San Diego team. There's a lot of talent on the floor amongst the young players on this team.
In the second half, San Diego has shot 52% on the road. This is not, I know that Pepperdine is struggling. I know they have injuries, but it's still difficult for a young team like San Diego to go anywhere. I don't care where you're playing on the road, especially in WCC play, and get a win. Oh, a huge momentum building. Again, they were 0-3. They didn't have a conference win, so now they have something. This is the standard now. For Lamont Smith's team, he's got to go back to the locker room and say, look, guys, we have to play like this every single game. Are we going to go undefeated for the rest of the way? No, of course not. But this is the standard that you play with on both ends.
I thought he was really candid when he spoke with us. He said that, you know, they were going pretty good right before Christmas. They came back from that little break, and they just haven't been the same team. And he said, I think you're going to see a different team today. And he's right.
He was right. Sometimes coaches, we call it coach speak, right? Everything's positive, even when it's not. But, like, he said it sincerely, and then his team goes out and performs the way he talked about it. And again, I'm talking about that Christmas break. No more eggnog for anybody on Torero roster next year.
Exactly.
It's outlawed.
We're just going to play straight through.
Yeah.
No holidays.
You're going to lock them up in a cage. No one gets to go home. Everybody just shoot jumpers all day and all night.
You want Christmas? We'll go play in the Great Alaska Shootout.
Hey, I love eggnog, though. For reals, I'm not even messing around. I like eggnog.
I do, too. But then I'm in no shape whatsoever. So. Been an excellent game for that guy right there, Tyler Williams. Are you an eggnog fan, Kelly?
I love eggnog. I might go head-to-head with Casey on this eggnog competition next year, guys. This is going to be Christmas for us.
I want no part of an eggnog drinking contest with anybody. That's disgusting.
I win by forfeit.
All right, there you go.
Incidentally, Kelly, I love the new look. For real. Love it.
Thank you, Barry. I appreciate it. I'm trying to pretend like I'm really smart.
Very professorial. I like that. Now, anything you say to me, I listen.
Perfect.
Kelly Tennett's already really tall. She played volleyball at USC. and she wore about 4-inch heels, and she was looking me in the eye today. I'm 6'6".
So
Poor little Barry in the middle.
I was just going to say, how do you think I feel about that?
She's interviewing Lamont Smith, and Lamont's like looking up at her like,
you guys,
well, I love it.
I'm bringing apple boxes everywhere I go.
I appreciate that. And you got a reach-in foul. That's going to send Carbone to the free throw line.
Another freshman, of course, right, Mary? If we don't know what class they're in, we just go default they're freshmen.
And you know what's interesting, too, of all these young guys, I mean, they come from all over the place, except California. You got Tyler Williams from Plano, Texas, Owen Carter from Allen, Texas, Juwan Gray, Dover, Delaware, Cameron Neubauer, Berlin, Germany, Brett Bailey, Spokane, Nasser Barino from Newark, New Jersey, Mark Carbone, who's going to the free throw line right now, from Wethersfield, Connecticut, Jose Martinez from Puerto Rico, Frank Reiner from Boulder, Colorado.
That's incredible. And, they have 3 guys from Texas. Well, Pepperdine has 3 guys from Texas as well. So combined on the floor, we got 6 players deep in the heart of Texas.
Well, and in fact, Lamont Smith grew up in the Dallas suburb, the Colony, so he knows Texas.
That's why he gets all those players from there, certainly. All those contacts that you have when you're a youngster, they pay dividends when you become a professional.
Right. All your teammates are now coaches.
Yeah, exactly. He's plugged into all the AAU circuits, especially around Dallas, which is a hotbed for talent. Certainly Southern California is as well.
San Diego's one of those places. I want to see it be successful because I want to see the crowds come back to the Jenny Craig Arena. That used to be a terrific building to play in and very tough on a visiting team. And now the loudest sound in there is shoes squeaking.
Right.
And I know Lamont wants to do something about that. And nothing does it like winning.
No, you're right about that. And selfishly, I would like to see USD get back on top as well. My brother, Brock Jacobson, was teammates with Lamont Smith, played at USD. My brother Brock was the WCC Newcomer of the Year in, I believe, 1996. That was, and he tells me that Lamont was the best defensive player that he's ever played with. A competitor every single day in practice and in games. He showed up. And I know my brother talks about USD, and he would love to see them get back to the top as well.
I would, too. And, there's been quite a coaching legacy there, too. Hank Egan was there, Jim Ravelli was there, Brad Holland was there. We talked about all the guys that have gone on that were assistants there. Randy Bennett, talking about Marty Wilson, I beg your pardon.
So do you know, Barry, that there have been 5 players who have played for the University of San Diego that have gone on to become NBA head coaches? Bernie Bickerstaff, right. Mike Brown, Eric Musselman, James Borrego, and now David Fisdale. Isn't that remarkable?
Exactly.
So if you want to become a head coach someday in the NBA,
go to USD.
Go to USD and play ball.
Well, I really do. There's a nice three-pointer, long three-pointer by Reyes.
That's a second.
I beg your pardon.
No,
I think now, too, the way the travel schedule is in the West Coast Conference is tougher than it has been because you don't have a traveling partner anymore. So you could play home on Thursday, on the road on Saturday. Still 2 ticks remaining in this one. But it will be a very satisfying win for Lamont Smith and the Toreros. And it's over. 76-60.